told y'all, I cast on Bo's hat in cookie crumbs. So I'm using it's squishy worsted, and the pattern is, Tin Can Knits Barley hat, and the reason I decided to go with this hat again is because the favorite hat that he has that I knit for him pretty early on was the Barley hat. And so I thought, I'm just going to do that pattern again. Although I didn't keep very good notes on needle size or anything like that. So being a new knitter, when I did it, I'm pretty sure I just went with the needle size that they recommended. So that's what I did. I didn't worry about gauge. I'm making him the biggest one because it's pretty slouchy on him, and I'm pretty sure that's what he likes. So a couple of things you'll notice, the brim. So the brim, I just was, knitting from the outside of the skein, and I could tell, I was like, oh, there's some definite pooling going on. And even I knew that the needle size was going to change after the brim, but I was like, I don't know. So I asked Bo what he thought, and did he want, should I maybe alternate between the center and the outside? And he said, yeah, mix it up. So that's what I've been doing. You can see I've got 2 strands coming from there. So I'm doing 1 row from the outside and then 1 row from the inside. And it has definitely broken it up a little bit more. So you've got some color variation. There's a little bit, like you'll see some sections of the darker colors and then some of that greenish yellow going in there, a golden green, very similar to Cavendish, by the way. So that's coming out nicely. And I am using my Cubics, j'adore the square Cubics, which Bo says means basically I love you, because adore is love and the j would be like me. So, and he says he didn't do it. He didn't take French to impress a girl. I forget why he said he did it. Something to do. He just wanted to do something different, not realizing that, living in Florida, Spanish would be much more practical. But hey, it's helping us out right now. So the note about these needles. So these are the interchangeables that I got. And I told y'all I got the 4-inch tips. Now I will say, here's something about the join. I noticed that the material right off, it is not the same high quality that you find in ChiaoGoo. It's not bad. I wouldn't say that it's quite the same. However, one thing I will say about these, and it might be the square shape, they do give you a key to tighten them, which I didn't do. And unlike my ChiaoGoo needles, when I don't tighten them, inevitably the right hand needle, I have to keep retightening it because of, I guess, is it the torque or the twist that I put on the right needle as I'm knitting inevitably loosens up that right join. And sometimes the left join too, but usually the right join for sure. And these, I've not had that problem. So, and I'm wondering if it's the square shape. I don't know. I don't have the answer for that. So I am enjoying them. Yes, I will go back to my ChiaoGoo. I mean, ChiaoGoo were the needles that they weren't my very first needles. My very first needles were a set of bamboo straights that I bought at Hobby Lobby, because I don't know if I've ever told y'all this, but I learned to knit off of YouTube. Taught myself. There were many frustrating moments indeed. And if I had had an in-person teacher, they probably could have helped me get through those faster. But since I didn't have an in-person teacher, I kind of had to figure them out on my own. And so I, had to do some YouTube research and things like that. For example, the fact that I kept adding stitches. How do I have an extra stitch? And then I finally realized exactly what I was doing, because a YouTube podcaster talked about how you can add stitches at the beginning. Like if you're knitting back and forth, when you get to that first stitch, sometimes it's loose and you need to pull it down so that you're not knitting into the leg that's underneath your current stitch. And I was totally knitting into the leg of the stitch underneath it. As soon as I figured that out, that was done. No more adding stitches, at least not in that manner. So anyway, shortly after that, I went to a local yarn shop and bought a skein of Malabrigo, which is what I knit a scarf and some hats in. And then, and got for my birthday, Bo bought me my first set of interchangeables, and they were Chow Goose, and I've never looked back. Until now, I'm betraying them. So I am enjoying them though. So Lonnie says her shawl is big, 600 stitches per row on the outer border. Whoo, wowza. All right. Diane, happy Valentine's Day from Chile, Ontario, 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh my goodness. And then, yep, snowstorms for you too. Well, stay safe. Lonnie, you learned to knit from a DVD and a workbook. Very nice. Okay. That would be good. I remember seeing when I was still a baby knitter, there were some, they were old knitting books on how to knit. And it totally, I was like, what? I could not make any sense of it. But yeah, anyway, that was interesting. All right, so let's see. Barley hat. I did. All right, I finally put a heel on my apple of my eye sock. So here's the deal. It probably looks like, which end is which? So I left the rolled hem, like is it the jelly roll socks that do this? Or is it well, maybe they both do. There's the jelly roll socks, and there's also, I want to say, is it Swan City Rollers? Something rollers. I have to look it up. Because I was looking through, actually, I was wearing my one set of socks the other day. And anyway, I like that because you don't have to do a cuff. And since I'm going to leave these, they're kind of shorties. They're a little bit long for shorties, but I thought, well, they'll be perfect for my ankle. Do y'all have ankle boots? I know you do. And some of you do shortly. And so I'm hoping these are long enough for that to wear, even though sometimes I just wear my shorty socks with those anyway. But this way they don't, hopefully it'll keep it from them from rubbing on my leg. So, and I have to tell you, I got lazy. Okay. So the reason for which y'all know that I like weird stripes in my stuff anyway. So this is the foot. But when I was knitting, I was sitting on the couch and I was like, where is my row counter? And or where, some of you have seen in the past, I'll count by tens and use those light bulb stitch markers. Oh, Helen is here. I assume it's Helen. Embrace the pooling. I love it. Yes. I'm not opposed to pooling. I love me some good pooling for sure. So, but anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know what? I was 10 rows in after the heel. And I was like, I'm going to stripe for 5 rows. And I keep track that way. And that's what I'm literally doing. So I've got 10 rows, 5, 20, 5, and I just literally started again. So I'll do 65 rows. That's what I typically do for my foot with a fingering weight yarn, size 1 needle, 64 stitch cast on. I do 65 rows for the feet, and then I start decreasing for the toe. So this is how I'm row counting on my foot, is literally with the limeade stripes. And I like the way that it looks, so I'm totally cool with that. So yeah, so I'm working on those. I'm starting to get anxiety with all the whips that I have. I don't handle it well when I have too many whips going on. So, and I don't think I've made, I don't know how much progress I've made on my ranunculus. So this is my February fiber challenge piece because it's pinkish, right? A Hallmark Holidays, the colorway. So I literally have, I think I counted, I've got like 10 rows left before I start the ribbing, and just a couple sets of decreases that I'm doing on the side. And yeah, it'll go fast. I just need to devote some time to it. So I was busy. I don't know what I was doing, working on Bo's hat, being lazy. I don't know. So needless to say, I did not cast on. I think I showed y'all this cowl last week, the Cindo cowl. And here's the thing, y'all. The other issue that I'm having with this is that someone, Bo, made a comment about this looking a little bit like a Dickie. So now all I can think about is Clark's brother in Christmas Vacation. But I know it's not going to look like that because, first of all, I'm going to use very drapey, fluffy sock with alpaca in it, and I'm going to hold it with fluffy lace. So it's going to be super drapey. And the other thing is that I don't have to make it as long as she has it. You see how she has it coming down. So I know it's not going to look weird, but for some reason, ever since he made that comment, that's all I can think about. So we'll just have to knit it and prove him wrong. And then one of y'all posted in the Swan City Stitchers that Marianne Lammers, I think I'm saying her name right, is retiring. And so all of her patterns are on sale. She has a note on her Ravelry page. I want to say her patterns are not going to be available anymore. Am I right about that? So I need to go back through and pick out some more that I want. But I did buy this one. I think it's pronounced Machita, and it's named after a Malabrigo base, is my understanding. But it calls for fingering weight yarn, 3 skeins, and I absolutely love it. Almost some of the colors in her sample remind me a little bit of our colors in the Happy Hearts collection. But I have other plans for this. So this is a scarf. And I love the way that the colors play together. So you can see she's got the main color there is the dark color, but then these 2 other colors look like they're slightly variegated. And so, yeah, I've got big plans for that. I can't tell you what they are, but that will be down the road. But I'm going to have to go back and look at the rest of her patterns because I've seen her patterns before. They're just amazing. Some of the color work that she does is just beautiful. So if you haven't checked her out, then do so. All right, Laura, the Rose City Rollers. Thank you. Yeah. And they have that like rolled hem on the socks. I love that. Oh my goodness, Karen. Interesting. So I'm curious. Yeah, I'm going to want to know more about that, about how you were able to then learn like the knitting terms and stuff since y'all didn't speak the same language. Anyway, how you learn to knit has a little bit to do with this upcoming project that I have, just so you know. Just saying. All right. So what else have we got going on? Last night was Dying to Knit. That was an interesting, fantastic experience. Boy, it was really good. Now, and I realized in the next day in the newsletter, I always post a picture of the colorway, and I should probably do like a spoiler alert, because if you're in the Dying to Knit group and you for some reason haven't seen the video or read the newsletter and you don't want to see the colorway, then look away because I'm getting ready to show what we dyed up. So here it is. This is the colorway based on the Bronte sisters, and I used a picture. If you're in the group, you know what I'm talking about. The picture that I used as inspiration, which had a very pale cream color to it. And then there was some silver and that shade of blue that's running through there. It's not showing up the best on my monitor, but there's some of it, that kind of like a steel blue almost. And then, of course, there were peach tones in it as well. And so those are peeking through. So that is our colorway for the Dying to Knit people. The coordinating cousins are open to everyone. They're on pre-order, and they are inspired by the names of some of the homes in the Bronte books. So, for example, this blue that goes with it is Thornfield Hall. That's thanks to Morgan, by the way. She named those. And then the peach tonal, which has some speckling going on, is called Thrush Cross Grange. That was the house in Wuthering Heights. Yeah. And I hope y'all can see it better. There is some of the pinky, that peach dye powder kind of breaks into peaches and pinks. And so there are just the slightest pink tones to that as well. So those are the two coordinating cousins. I'll leave that pre-order up probably just through this next week, and then I'll take it down. Yeah, because we got to get them dyed up and sent out for everybody. All right, so that's that. What else? Okay.